Taking cue from the lower house, the Senate has also initiated resolutions to open meetings of the bicameral conference committee to the public. On Tuesday, Speaker Martin Romualdez said the House is willing to open bicam deliberations on the budget, a practice usually held behind closed doors to ensure transparency. Several senators from the majority and minority blocs have submitted resolutions calling on the upper chamber to do the same.
Ginawa ko din yon nung Finance Committee Chairman ako. Papanukala ko rin kay Senator Win. Hindi naman po pwede na walang babaguhin at hindi pwedeng baguhin yun na nakaukit sa bato. Tingin ko hindi mangyayari yan.
Senator Escudero, however, is still in the middle of a controversy regarding the national budget. It has been reported that billions were inserted in last year's coffers for his benefit and that of his allies. There's also a video circulating which showed Senator Escudero visiting the House of Representatives several times in the middle of the bicam deliberations in 2024. Senator Escudero supposedly went to the office of Speaker Romualdez to secure budget insertions. Escudero has since called these allegations a mere demolition job.
Sa mga insertion ng budget, wala talaga kayong ibinulsa or meron?
Wala. Malamang galing din sa kanila yan dahil ang paninira na-trace naming paninira laban sa amin ay nanggagaling din sa Kamara. Hindi nga lang siguro 2 beses ako bumisita pero hindi sa tanggapan ni Speaker Romualdez. So, bawal na rin magpunta at gawin ng trabaho bilang BICA member? Bawal bilang Senate President tingnan kung ayos yung staff na gumagawa ng BICAM? May insinuation.
In response, House spokesperson Princess Abante said Escudero should just answer the allegations instead of pointing fingers at the House.
Bakit kami? Ba't kami may kasalanan? Ang tanong naman po ay tinatanong kay Senate President Shees, bakit po sa amin po binabato ang tanong? Bakit pag may mga criticism sa kanya, tinataasan niya ng kilay ang House of Representatives?
And we now discuss this issue and more with Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Good evening, Senator. Thank you for joining us once again in the big story.
Good evening, Seth. Good evening to all of you. Good evening to our televiewers.
Now, as chair of the powerful Finance Committee, before we tackle the other issues, would you please comment on the tussle between Senator Escudero and the House of Representatives?
Well, as far as I know, and so far as what Senate President Chis Escudero said, that all of those things that came out is a demolition job connected to the Senate presidency that was once being vied for. So I will take it as it is, and I'll take the statement of Senate President Chis Escudero as it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, both houses seem in agreement to a more transparent budget process. How will you go about it? How do you suggest it should be done?
Well, Seth, I heard the statement of the House of Representatives saying that they will live stream the hearings, they will open the bicameral conference committee hearings, but I will take it further than just opening it to the public by opening the bicameral conference committee to the public. I will make sure, at least on the Senate side, that the documents pertaining to the budget will be uploaded to the website. Right now, if you look at the documents connected to the website, you can only see the net if you go to the DBM website and download it, and you see the GAA once it's done. But anything in between or anything beyond or before the NEP is not uploaded to the website. So you don't have any way of tracking the movement of the budget. You can only see the start and you can only see the end. So insofar as the Senate is concerned, at least under my chairmanship at the Senate Committee on Finance, is to upload the pertinent documents. For example, the amended version of the budget and also the third reading version of the budget. We will also request from the DBM to upload what we call the BP 201 form or the Budget Proposal 201. These are all the budget proposals made by the different departments and approved or denied by the DBM. This is in order for the public to see what was the original proposals of the different departments. We will also request from our House counterparts to upload the GAB, the General Appropriations Bill. This is actually the version that the House of Representatives approve and to be transmitted to the Senate. So all of the, because the budget is a process, so all of the documents going through that process will be uploaded to the website in order for the public to see.
But the Senate can also conduct its own hearings coinciding with the House even before they transmit to you the budget, correct?
Correct. We can hold, because of the time limitations,
Yeah.
we only barely 4 months to approve the budget. The target is to approve it before the year end, so we have a new budget next year. So what we normally do is we conduct simultaneous hearings already. Actually, we don't call it hearing, budget briefings. No? So that we will already ask questions to the different departments and also take inputs from the different departments. I'll also question them on what are the ineffective projects and programs in the budget, so that all of those inputs will be carried over or included in the Senate version, and the Senate version will be the one that will be transmitted to the Bicameral Conference Committee.
On a related note, Senator, Congressman Toby Tiangco went on a couple of interviews yesterday, and actually since after SONA, and he mentioned the existence of this small committee. He said, it doesn't actually happen in the BICAM, but after the BICAM, there's still a small committee of 4. Would you know anything about that, and what are you planning to do about that practice?
Okay. What I intend to do is to limit the BICAM to disagreeing provisions. So meaning what the House did not or did propose and what the Senate did or did not propose, those are the only items that we can talk about. We cannot talk about items outside of the disagreeing provisions. Now, insofar as that quote-unquote small committee, there are technical committees because this is a very technical document. If you see the NEP, the National Expenditure Program, it's about 4 volumes of probably 1,000 pages each volume. So it's a very technical document, and you need technical people to reconcile because you have 2 houses with different proposals to reconcile those differences.
But Senator, what is your reaction to what President Marcos said in his SONA, wherein he promised that any bill in the GAA that does not align with the NEP, the National Expenditure Program, he promises to return, even if that means having a reenacted budget next year?
Well, we have to understand that when the president submits the NEP, the National Expenditure Program, that's in effect the president's budget. That's his budget in order to govern the country and in order for the president to reach his goals and targets. And it's important that the budget supports the president. And what happens admittedly, along the budget process, there are programs, projects, there are items in the budget that are inefficient or not being used efficiently by the different departments. And that's where the legislature comes in. The legislature can remove those inefficient budgets. They can transfer it to more important items, and that's part of the legislative process. But it should be confined to what the president aims to do in the following year. That's why he said it should be aligned with the national priorities, and I agree with that because we have to make sure that the budget supports the priorities of the president. It should not veer away too much from that priority.
So in your opinion, Senator, it's not executive overreach on the part of the president?
It has to be a balancing act. The legislature should be vigilant should be vigilant and should be able to do its job to make sure that the budget is efficient. Like in my case, as a chairman of the Finance Committee, I want to make sure that the budget is efficient. And when I say efficient, the projects will be felt by the people. Those items that are not being utilized will be removed, and the budget should be should be wisely spent. So this is what I meant with efficiency. And that principle should also be aligned with the president's objective this coming new year. So it's a balancing act, but definitely it has to support the president's objective this coming new year.
So you are also in agreement with the minority in the Senate. They have the same concerns and they have several suggestions.
Yes, I do agree, but I want to take it further. Like I mentioned before, all the documents pertaining to the budget should be uploaded. Right now, we like for example, me and my team, we do the budget analysis, and believe me, says they will give us books of the budget, and those books we have to scan it, and we have to turn it into readable and searchable format. So in other words, the documents are not even digitalized. So if you want the public to help the government analyze the budget, it has to be at least digitalized. No?
So you're doing that now?
I'm doing it for the last 9 years. I've been doing that for the last 9 years. It's a very taxing activity, but we have to do it in order to break down the details of the budget.
Senator, can we just move over to last year's budget, or actually this year's budget, which was deliberated on last year and passed last year, where a lot of things really came to the fore, and that's when people really got interested in the budget. How do we ensure that, PhilHealth keeps its budget? Education gets the largest chunk of the budget. Like, do you have plans in advance because of all the brouhaha that happened on how you're going to do that?
Well, the SONA, there's a reason why the SONA is given before the budget submission. In the next 2 weeks, the budget will be submitted to Congress. And the SONA is actually a signal, and it will dictate the direction of the budget. If you listen to the President's SONA, about 60 to 70% of his SONA is dedicated to the basics. That's why I call it back to the basics, education and health. So that's why in my one of my directions for the 2026 budget is to make it an education budget, focus on the basics, especially on education, because for a very long time, education, even though it's getting a lot of the highest priority, but we're not spending on the right items. So we're making sure that budget still remains, it still gets the highest priority and still gets the highest allocation. We're targeting 4% of GDP this coming 2026. That's our own target. But we're also going to make sure that it's appropriated to the right items. Like, for example, mental health, tutoring programs, teacher aids, all of these things.
And flood control project, Senator, of course, that got the biggest standing ovation in the whole SONA. Can we expect a lot less of that, and you to guard against those cropping up, in the voluminous files?
Well, personally, I will take a look at that. It gets about 200 plus billion pesos a year for the last 2 years. So with that large amount of sum, at least we will solve some flooding in some area. So we will definitely review that this coming 2026. I will not allow a reallocation of flood control projects in the same manner. That will not happen under our watch.